Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Rare Connection, the podcast that connects rare disease patients, educates medical professionals and the public, and searches for answers for the 95% of rare conditions without FDA-approved treatment. I'm your host, Joanna, and today we're diving into a landmark moment for IRF to BPL community, also known as by its clinical name, NEDAMSS, NEDAMSS, a neurodevelopmental disorder with regression of normal movements, loss of speech, and seizures. Joining me today is Stephanie, a passionate advocate and someone closely following this space. Together, we'll talk about Elly, the first child to receive IRF2 BPL gene therapy. Just this past April, at Weill Council in New York City, and what this means for families, researchers, and the future of rare neurodegenerative disease care. Before we begin, just a reminder to subscribe to my podcast on your favorite platform and check out the video version on YouTube at Rare Chef. We also feature cooking videos that support the rare disease community. Stephanie, can you tell us about IRF2-BPL, what it is and how it affects those diagnosed?
Yeah, well, hi, I'm Liz. Stephanie is my daughter who suffers from IRF2-BPL. IRF2-BPL is a gene, and when it's mutated, it could be cut, it could be deleted, it could be changed, like from one side to another. It stops, well, it doesn't stop. They thought it stops making a protein, which is essential for all the functions that people have, like what we would give for given, like walking, talking, eating, moving, everything like that. IRF2-BPL was discovered in 2018. Stephanie was gonna turn 18, and we had looked for something that could tell us what was going on, because she stopped walking and talking after she turned 9, and we didn't know what it was. So 9 years afterwards, we find that there is this gene mutation, which it took away now everything from her. At that time, there were only 7 cases in the United States, 9 in the worldwide, and they wanted to exclude Stephanie because, as like Joanna just said, it's called NEDAMSS, and the last S in NEDAMSS is for seizures. And Stephanie was the only one of all the kids that didn't have any seizures. So they decided that she was not a IRF2-BPL case, but it has shown that there are so many different cases. Most of them only autistic, from mild to severe autistic. There are people that start developing IRF2-BPL at an older age, like even 50s. Okay, they had told us at that time that it was not fatal, that nobody would die from IRF2-BPL, which was not true either. We already had 4 casualties here in the United States, and well, we don't know how many more, because the thing is, if you don't test a person that is disabled or has severe autism or has a lot of seizures, you will never know if you don't have IRF2-BPL. So right now, that is what RF2BPL kind of is. It's a very bad disease. It leaves you without anything. Not in all the cases. It depends if you have a deletion, if you have a mutation, if it's in the beginning, at the end, in the middle of the gene. Nobody knows exactly how it works, but that's what it is.
So you mentioned that, so the name, most of these gene mutations don't have names. Was that discovered? When was that discovered? Or when did they change the name to an
Well,
actual name?
no, the thing is, I think they changed the name is because many people could not like know, they didn't know what IRF2BPL stand for. So they had to give it a name that everybody could like kind of like neurodevelopmentally, whatever it stands in the dumps. And that's why they changed it. They changed it exactly 7 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago. It was before it was only RF2BPL, which is the scientific name.
Mhm.
And now they change it to NEDAMSS.
Yeah. So IRF2BPL is likely a genetic mutation in that name. So good that you changed the name because it's more descriptive of the condition.
Yes.
Um,
But there's where I had the problem because when they told me it was standing with and seizures, I told them you cannot put and seizures because my daughter doesn't have seizures. And many cases were not tested because they didn't have any seizures. But then afterwards, they decided to say it was with or without seizures, but they never changed it really. And it's very important to know that you don't have to have seizures, okay? Or maybe you only had one seizure, but you could still have RF2BPL.
Yeah, that is important. Seizures will definitely be fatal because it affects the brain and it depends on where they hit. It's just like
Well,
a
yeah,
stroke is going to affect the brain, and so
but
it's playing monopoly.
yeah, but the whole problem is that the gene, because it needs certain, like each kid has a, depends where it's cut on the gene, needs certain protein. Okay. And at the beginning, they thought that by cutting the gene, the protein was not being done, like elaborated by the cell. But then afterwards, they found out that they did the protein, but it didn't go to the nucleus. It goes somewhere else. And that's why all the cases are different.
Mhm.
So it's like Stephanie. Stephanie had never had a seizure. But when she turned 18 and they repeated her 17 when she was going to turn 18 and they repeated the genome sequencing, they did it because they saw in the MRIs that every doctor said no, it's normal, it's normal. But there was in Miami Children's Hospital there was this doctor, and she said it's normal because the whole brain is fine. But if you look at it, it shrunk. She has a brain at 18. She had a brain of a 50-year-old.
Mhm.
So many doctors never saw it, not even Mayo Clinic. Stephanie went to the Mayo Clinic, went everywhere.
Yeah. So if it has to do with a protein, does she follow a special diet?
No, because you cannot get that protein to the brain. You need a genetic therapy in order to restore the gene and make it have that, like, for example, I'm sorry, she needs glutaminic acid, okay? Even if you give her by mouth, which I tried several times, give her a lot of glutamine, it's not enough. There's not enough that goes into the brain, just a tiny bit, which doesn't make any difference. So you need to do the only thing that we have right now, because there was no cure. Still, we don't have a cure, but it's the best that we have right now is genetic therapy.
Mhm. There is another condition called GLUT1 that I've done a podcast on also. Um, and they follow the keto diet, um,
We have
which
tried that too.
yeah, it's not the keto diet that most people know though. It
Okay.
has more to do with ratios.
Okay.
Most of the people, the diet that we know as keto is more of a modified Atkins diet.
Mhm.
What is the particular breakthrough? Why is this particular breakthrough such a deal for the rare disease world, especially for conditions like especially for conditions with no treatment?
Well, that is it. The only way like you could cure conditions that have no treatment is to restore the gene. For example, we have seen there are many conditions like SPG 50, which is spastic paraplegia, and they thought first that Stephanie had that, but then it was ruled out. And there have been already gene therapies that have cured kids with SPG 50. There was another one which is, I think it's ADCC, a protein. Another girl that she was totally non-verbal, non-ambulatory. She was, poor thing, was a lot of seizures, and they did genetic therapy to her, and she right now, she's not talking because she never talked before, but she could say mama, but she's walking, she's going to school, she can do things where kids that sometimes cannot do anything, we don't have any hope. They don't give you any hope. A doctor comes and tells you, well, I'm sorry, there's nothing for your child. And genetic therapy, and it was like, I think it was like 6 years ago or something, the doctor of the White House said that he thought that the only thing that could cure many diseases that had no hope was genetic therapy. And I think it is. The only problem we have is it's very, very expensive. And more here in the United States.
As you were saying, it's $2 million for the therapy that you're looking at. It's generally over $1 million.
Yeah, it's usually over here in the United States, like the one that there was one case right now that we have. She's a little girl that they just did genetic therapy on her with a synthetic gene, and it cost her over here in the United States 2.5 million. Now, I have been researching, and like the father of the child that has SPG 50, he has a company now who does genetic therapies for different people. And one time I contacted him, and he told me that it would cost me 3.5 million. So it's absurd. It's so much money. Where can I get that? It's impossible.
That is literally impossible, yes. Without years and years of financial, but a lot of the nonprofits do have grants also that they can apply for. Not to say that they'll get it, but it's not a guarantee, but they can get grants, which helps a lot.
Yeah, I haven't found any like that, and we have foundations now and RF2BPL, but it's like difficult. It's very difficult. The only like at least my daughter, I have her in a study in Germany, in Berlin. So I'm trying to raise money to pay that one, and they charge you $200,000, which is not that bad.
Yeah,
but it takes
still
much
pretty
longer.
difficult.
Excuse me?
Yeah, still pretty difficult. I know one person who's trying to raise $1 million, and for a condition called CLTN6, which is another genetic mutation. And I think he's raised about 100,000, which has got to be no easy feat either. But he has other people going under his nonprofit also. what do we know about Elly's path to gene therapy, and how did her family mobilize?
Well, Elly, when she was diagnosed, she was like around. Well, she already came like she was born, because many of our kids, they are born normally and suddenly it develops like a cancer, right? It's in your cells, but sometimes it's not active. But Elly was born with it. We have several cases that the kids are born already with all of the disabilities and a lot of seizures. So the parents, they did a fundraiser. They also have a foundation and things, and they raised 2.5 million. Okay, they joined forces with other people that were studying RF2BPL, like with Dr. Catherine Mayer from Cincinnati Children's Hospital, but she left that and she put her own business doing gene therapy, and she developed in record time, because it was less than 7 months. She developed a synthetic gene, okay, and they used an AAV vector to put it inside Elly, and that was in April. What we know about it, well, it cost them 2.5 million. They raised it. They raised 2.5 million. Now they're trying to raise 2.5 million more to do another batch. And they said that she's doing well. More, I cannot tell you, because that's all they told us, that she was happy and that she was doing well.
Mhm. You said she's nonverbal?
She's nonverbal.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she has atrophy in her cerebellum, very bad ones, and she had a lot of seizures. That's what they told me today. So she's gonna be 2 right now.
Mhm. Yeah, some kids can learn sign language. They may not know what it means. So you're basically going off of body language a lot. And also, some people have used pictures, point to a picture to know what it means. But again, some people don't know, some of them don't know what that means either. So,
Yeah, but the major problem we have is like Stephanie.
mhm.
Stephanie cannot point to anything. She cannot use her hands. They're closed in fists. So she cannot point to anything. We tried the eye gazer, but she refuses. I don't know if it drains her, what it is. She gets very exhausted. She puts her head down. Now she cannot maintain her head up, and it's difficult.
Mhm. Yeah. Mm.
It's very difficult, and more when you had a kid that already did everything. She could talk, she could run, she could do everything, and then suddenly she refuses to cooperate, because it's depressing.
Yeah, I
It's very
can
depressing.
imagine. Um, I can't say that I'm going through that I know what you're going through, but it's got to be difficult.
Yeah, the problem is, you know, at least when you have a baby that already was nonverbal, you knew what was happening. But the worst is when you have a child. Like today, a mother called me and said, Liz, it's been 6 months and my son now cannot even walk anymore. And I said, every 6 months, you're going to see something different going away, and you don't know what to do. And you go from doctors, like, instead of me spending time to nourish, to like to take videos of her talking to me, saying things. I was so busy looking for doctors and for answers that nowadays I wish I could hear her voice again.
Yeah,
It's it's
this
it's
is
super hard.
worse than dementia. It's really bad. Um, what role did Weill Cornell play in making this happen?
Well, they developed the gene, and supervising that it, like, the most important part of all of it was because Missouri was in there, Bill Cornell, there was I like co and the things. The important thing was to see that the AAV vector, which is a virus, because they put it in a virus so it can go through the brain barrier, like the blood barrier to the brain, would not affect Elly, and because there have been fatal cases. So they're still all together figuring out to do a new batch. And also what they want to do is what they have left over from the first one they did for Elly. They want to do trials right now and to give it to kids here in the United States, but they want to go through the insurance. I don't know if that's possible because insurance never cover experimental medicine, but they want to go through insurance, and then the kids over here could only pay the co-payment.
Yeah.
And they,
The FDA will fast track a rare disease, but through a clinical trial, but it still takes years.
well, they got the approval from the FDA for the fast track and everything. They already did that. They got the approval,
Yeah.
but now I don't. The truth is, I don't see how an insurance company will cover the expenses for a gene therapy.
Probably not, but in a lot of the gene therapy companies, you know, my condition's a little bit more common, but I'm in a clinical trial right now, and they take you through the blinded part, and you either have the real drug or placebo.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I'm past the blinded part, and they are actually giving me the drug while I'm still in the clinical trial.
Okay.
After it gets approved, that's when they start charging for it. And so that's probably going to be enormous. What stood out to you the most?
Excuse me?
What stood out to you the most? You've seen the letter from the Krueger family. What stood out to you the most?
Well, the truth is, they put like they put the title like the progress of Elly or something like that, and everybody was expecting them to tell us how Elly was doing, right? Because that's what we all want to know. How is she doing? Is she getting better? Everybody wants you to get better. And then the letter only talked about, well, it said she tolerated it very well and she was doing well, but that's very general. Doing well doesn't mean you have improved or anything, right? And then it talked only about how much it would cost and blah 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 and this and that, and that's not what we want to hear. We want to hear how is she doing? Is it really working? You should show us. I don't know. That drew everybody away. Like today, I have people calling me from Spain because they said if it's working, we want to give it to our kids, and they're willing even to pay the $1.5 million that they are charging to do the batch for overseas. But they asked me, and I don't know. They never specified how did she improve? What did you see? So I don't know. It sounds more like a business than something else. That's the truth.
Yeah, this is very much a business.
Yeah, but it's bad. It's very sad.
Yeah, that is it is really sad
Yeah,
that
because
they have charged so much.
we're talking about lives. Look at my
Yeah,
daughter. My daughter had a fully life when she was 8. Suddenly, at 8 at 3 months, things started to change. 6 months later, she couldn't walk anymore, and I was like, "What happened?" Then 6 months later, her hands were fists. She couldn't use them anymore. 6 months later, she stopped talking. It was in a period of 6 months she stopped losing, and then and it never stops. It never stops.
yeah. I wish I could hug you. It's really, this is really tough. There's talk of a clinical trial on the horizon. what would it take to bring this from one patient to many?
What do you mean? I didn't understand. Can you rephrase it, please?
Um, um, see, are they thinking about doing the gene therapy as a clinical trial, or is this a different drug?
No, it's the same. They did a batch, right? They did a batch of genetic therapy, synthetic, because they do a whole batch. And they told me right now it was like for 20 patients. Okay. And so they used one. Now, don't believe me. I'm not 100% sure, right? But it seems like they want to do a new batch. They want to do a new batch improved. Okay, so this is not a perfect batch. They want to improve the genetic therapy, right? But they need to make money again because they spent the 2.5 million doing that batch. So that's why they now are trying to get the money. First, they said it was free. The first time we talked about it in a webinar, they said it was going to be free for all the American patients. Then afterwards, we received a letter where it says, well, we're going to go after the insurance to collect the payment. And the kids that, or the patients that are going to do it, they have to pay the co-payment for the insurance, which is going to be very high because if you charge them, what, $800,000, $80,000 in co-payment, right? It's almost usually at 10%. And then we had to spend one month in New York, there where they give it, which doesn't make any sense to me either, because every time I have read about genetic therapy where they apply them, they get it, and the next day they go home. They don't have to stay in that place for a whole month. So it's what, I don't know. There is plenty to do. Like Spain said that they wanted to buy a batch as long as it works, but nobody tells you exactly how it works. And
Yeah.
then there's one question. If it worked, why do you have to improve that batch? Why do you have to do another one? That's
That's a
a
good
big
question.
question. Yeah, but they don't tell you, you know, it's I don't know how to say it, but like if it worked, why do you have to raise so much funds? Because Elly's parents were the one who raised the 2.5 million, and it says it's for all the patients and blah 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 and this and that. Why are you charging them then to do another batch to improve it? Why? Because they're charging everybody. Even like if it's overseas, they charge them 1.5 million for one batch. So I don't know. What can I tell you? I wish that it really works. I If it works, I would take Stephanie. The only problem I have is with staying a month in New York because I have to work. You know, I'm a teacher. I have to work. I could stay in a Ronald McDonald's house, okay, but I cannot leave my work for a whole month. You know, I don't know. It's very,
Yeah.
maybe I would. I don't know. I get a leave of absence or something, but still, then I don't make money. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's also stressful, and then when you see her, like these 4 days, she hasn't slept at all, and you don't know what's going on. She cannot tell you. It's it's so exhausting. Look,
Yeah.
I'm like I'm drained. Today I don't know what to do. I'm so desperate.
Yeah. And this has got to be taking a toll on you too, because you're spending so much time.
Yeah, but you know, it's my daughter. And
Yeah.
just imagine how I am suffering. How much is she suffering?
Yeah.
People always say, "Oh no, because I'm tired of this." They didn't ask to come to this world, and it's not
Yeah.
their fault, you know.
No, it's not. But you need help because I mean, this you can't do it all on your own.
I know, but she's my daughter, and I will not leave her. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
what,
I
no.
understand that part. Um, How can how can families in the IRF2 BPL community stay informed about or get involved with Elly's team and other resources?
Well, we have first we have the parent support group, which is on Facebook online.
Hmm.
There's two different ones. There are two. Well, there are three. I'm banned from one of them, but there's three support groups, and where all the people, well, they don't participate much, just when they come in new. It was a beautiful group 16 years ago because we were few and we all wanted the same thing, you know. And there they give you information. To stay in touch with Elly's parents, you have to email them. You have to email them because they don't respond any other way. And they just moved. I think they moved to, I think it was Montana or Missouri. I'm not sure. To be closer of Michelle's parents, which is Elly's mom. So they moved from New York over there. So that's the only way you can get in touch with them. They really are not much of part of the parent support group. They just, when she was diagnosed, they was there, and then they really did an amazing job.
Mhm. How important is it is collaboration between researchers, nonprofits, and families when it comes
Moms,
to
oh,
moving
huh?
treatments like this forward?
I don't know, but those were 2 months who founded that foundation, and they helped people to raise funds, and it was there where they raised the 2.5 million.
What gives you the most hope right now?
The most hope is the scientist in Germany, definitely.
Yeah.
He's the only one because he's doing personalized genetic therapy. It's not a synthetic gene, and also it's more accessible. You know, the only difference is it takes longer because he does a lot of experiments with mice and things to see if it really works. How, like, they already put a gene back to a mice and to see how they react and all that. So it takes longer, not the 7 months that Elly's family took to do theirs. But that's my only hope I have. That's the truth. That's my only hope. I've been waiting for 5 years already with him. This
Seems
is
like
my
you've been waiting a lot longer than that.
I know, but then like he contacted me five years ago, and it was so difficult over here in the United States. Everything is so difficult to get a fibroblast. It was so difficult till finally Mayo Clinic agreed to do it, and then he started to work on Stephanie's gene, but he's still not done, and I don't know how much longer it's gonna take.
Yeah. What advice would you give to other families waiting for a breakthrough in their child's condition?
To never lose hope, you know. There's one thing you always have to think about. If there's life, there's hope. Okay, it will take. Sometimes it will take longer. Sometimes it happens out of nowhere. But don't lose hope, and don't bring the kids down. Just give them hope too, because if not, they get so depressed. They go by themselves. You know, like we have lost 4 kids, and it's not because the parents were not good parents. There was no hope. You know, people give up, and the kids give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
I know it's super hard, but I've been through that 16 years. It's hard, you know? But I have hope. And I tell my daughter, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. And we're going to make it. You're going to see one day we're going to make it. I wish it would be Christmas or for her birthday in March, because sometimes I feel I cannot go on, It's so tiring. Like I have a very small home. To take it to the bathroom, I have to carry her. I'm getting old, I'm getting old. And what makes me super sad is she's losing all her life. She's 24. It's not fair. But don't lose hope. That's
You have
all.
Medicaid.
Yes.
They can help you get a Hoyer lift, which
It
help
doesn't
you.
fit. I have a Hoyer lift. They gave it to me when she was in school, but it doesn't fit in my bathroom. Or it's the Hoyer lift or it's me. Both we don't fit in the bathroom.
Mhm.
It's not easy.
Mhm.
I
Liz,
carry
thank you
her.
so much for joining us today and
Thank you,
helping
Joanna.
us unpack this incredible development.
Thank you. Thank
The,
you. And
the courage of Elly's family, the dedication of researchers, and the strength of this community are a powerful reminder of what's possible when scientists meet determination.
yes, that's true.
To our listeners, visit ellystream.org to listen to the full to read the full letter from Elly's family. Sign up for their upcoming webinar at surveymonkey.com/r/l rf2bpl-webinar. You can comment below if you're watching on YouTube, or use the send me a text link in the show notes on the audio version. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, to our YouTube channel, Rare Chef. Follow Rare Connection on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and LinkedIn then visit rareconnection.org. And for more resources and past episodes. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health issues or thoughts of suicide, help is available. In the US, you can call 988, call or text 988 for support, for anytime support. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Rare Connection.